Next topic is symmetric. Symmetric. What is symmetry? Let's learn this with an example. Now show you one model. Yes, this one. What is this? Yes, it is a picture of a butterfly. Yes, butterfly is this, no? Okay. Now, I'll fold this butterfly into two halves. Fold this into halves. Yes, I fold. So, now I get two parts. First part, second part. Is there any change these two parts? Any difference in these two parts? Any difference? No, there is no difference. So, these two parts are exactly the same. Two parts are exactly the same. In first part, that's one eye, this wings and half body. Here in the second part also, one eye, then half body and one wing. So, these two parts are exactly the same. If we fold this two, if we fold an object, these two parts, we get the two parts. The two parts are exactly the same. So, this type of figures are called symmetrical figures. What is symmetrical figures? That is when two halves of a shape or an object are exactly the same, that figures are called, that shapes are called symmetrical figures. When and two halves of a shape or object are exactly the same, such type of figures are called symmetrical figures. We can see so many symmetrical figures in our surroundings. Yes, our blackboard, this whiteboard is an example of a symmetrical figure. Means if I divide this way, I get two equal identical parts. If I divide this way, vertical line, so we get two identical parts. Exactly, these two parts are exactly the same. Good. Another good example is our body. Our body. If we divide our body into vertically, this way, divide into vertically, yes, we get two parts. One part here, one part here. So, any change in these two parts? One eye here, half part of nose. One eye here, half part. Then here, half part of lips, half part of lips. One arm in this side, also one arm in this side. So, these two parts are exactly the same. So, our body is a good example of a symmetrical figures. So, what is symmetrical figures? Yes, when two half of a shape or object are exactly the same, that type of figures are symmetrical figure. Butterfly is an example, and now some examples are given here. This on look on the board. Symmetrical figures. Rectangle. Rectangle. If I divide the rectangle into vertically, I get two equal parts. The two parts are exactly the same. If I divide the part this way, if we get two parts, that also same. And this triangle, we can divide the triangle into this way. So, these two parts are exactly the same. So, these are called symmetrical figures. Then, all the parts are symmetrical. Look, this is a symmetrical figure. Yes? No, this is not a symmetrical figure. See, here in the top one thing. That is here. If we divide this way, we get 2. If I divide, cut this pen this way. Here, I cut here. So, one part is this, one part is. These two parts are exactly the same? Exactly the same? No. So, this pen is not a symmetrical figure. If we divide, means if we divide an object, and if we get the two parts are exactly the same, that's symmetrical. That figures are called symmetrical figures. That is, in your textbook, the definition is, when a line divides a shape into two parts where both parts are reflections of each other, the line is called the line of symmetry. Shape with one or more lines of symmetry are called symmetrical shape. So, if we divide an object into two halves, each halves are exactly same, are called symmetrical line, and the line means the line that we divide, the shape into two exactly half, the line is called the line of symmetry. This line is called the line of symmetry. Okay, now show another example here. Yes, one model. Then I fold this into two halves. Okay, I fold the shape into two. So the two halves are equal, exactly the same. These two halves are exactly the same. This here, no, this full of a rectangle shape. This part is a rectangle shape, but this part is not rectangle. So the two halves are not exactly the same. These two parts are unequal. So this type of figures are called asymmetrical figures. When we divide an object into two parts, each parts are not exactly the same. That type of figures are called asymmetrical figures. Like this one mug. If I divide this mug this way, these two parts are not same, not equal. If I divide the mug this way, two parts are not same. And here, if I divide these two parts are equal, no. I divide these two parts are equal, no. So this type of figures are called asymmetrical figures. Asymmetrical figures. That is, what is symmetrical figures? Yes, the figure, that is when an object divided into two halves, each halves are exactly the same. That type of figures are called symmetrical figures. And the two parts are not exactly, not same. That figures are called asymmetrical figures. Okay, and here, the line we used to, that one line that we used to divide the shape into two identical halves, that line is called the line of symmetry. It's called the line of symmetry. Okay, so what is symmetrical figure? Okay, what is symmetrical figures? The line that when two half of a shapes are exactly the same, that shape, that type of figures are called what? Symmetrical figures. One good example is butterfly, our body, our face. Okay, our arm is a symmetrical figure. No, if I cut this arm here, but these two parts are different. So our arm is not a symmetrical figure, but that our full body. If I cut our full body, that's our two symmetrical figures. Only the face, symmetrical figure. Okay, so when we divide an object into two identical parts, each parts are not exactly the same. Such type of figures are called asymmetrical figures. And the line that divide the shape into two identical halves, that line is called the line of symmetry. Okay, when two halves of a shape or object are exactly the same, such type of shapes are called symmetrical shapes or symmetrical figures. And the two halves are not exactly the same. Such type of figures are called asymmetrical shapes. So some examples are given in your textbook. That is page number 50. That gas cylinder, yes, is an example. Here then selected like one X, here one chair, then English alphabet L, English alphabet here. Then these are the symmetrical line. Here we can draw only one symmetrical. Here more than one symmetrical line is the, here one symmetrical line and here one symmetrical line. So see the example that is given in the textbook. Okay, so we study the line that divide the shape into half. To exactly the two parts, equal parts, that are called the line of symmetry. So different shapes have different line of symmetry. It's a different line of symmetry. So one rectangle. Rectangle, yes, I show this is a rectangle sheet paper. Yes, rectangle sheet of paper. Okay, if I fold this paper, yes, fold this paper, yes. the parts, thus we get two identical parts. So these two parts are equal. So here we can draw a line of symmetry. Yes, this is the line of symmetry, means this line of symmetry divide these two parts, this rectangle into two identical halves. And again I divide the rectangle into this way, means horizontally. Divide the rectangle into horizontally. First I divide into this vertically, then I divide this horizontally, and these two, okay, two parts, one part here and one part here. Any different is this two parts? Both parts are exactly the same. So here this is also a line of symmetry, means this line divide these two parts equal. Two exact equal part, identical part. So here we get two lines of symmetry. So the rectangle has two lines of symmetry. Two lines of symmetry. Okay, now a square sheet of paper. Yes, square sheet of paper. I divide the square into this way. Okay, yes. Here parts are no. Here is one part and also this is one part. So two parts are same. So we can draw the line of symmetry here. One line of symmetry means its two parts are same, identical part. Again I divide this. Yes, the square into this way. I divide both vertically and horizontally. So these two parts also exactly the same. These two parts also exactly the same. So this way we can, here also we can draw the line of symmetry. Again I fold here diagonal. Just to fold it diagonal. So the third standard we study what is diagonal. Yes, what is the line segment that we drawn inside a shape showing the opposite vertices. Yes, that's called, the line is called the diagonal. So if we divide, that's means this is a line of symmetry. And so here also we get two identical parts. So this in a square, this also a line of symmetry. And this side also we can draw here also we can draw a line of symmetry. So in a square there are four lines of symmetry. One here is we can draw a line of symmetry. Horizontally we can draw vertically we can draw line of symmetry. Also diagonally we can draw the line of symmetry. So this rectangle has only two lines of symmetry, but then square four lines of symmetry. Okay, four lines of symmetry. Can we divide that rectangle into diagonally? No, if we divide, that two parts are not identical. So this rectangle has only two lines of symmetry. Now this hexagon, this we can draw this way. One line of symmetry, these two parts are equal. These two we can line of symmetry. Okay, hexagon means 6 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. Okay, so this also a line of symmetry and this also a line of symmetry. So two lines of symmetry. And in this mark only one line of symmetry. If we draw one line here, these two parts are same? No. So in mark this only one line of symmetry. And this circle, one line, two equal parts. This whole line of symmetry. If we draw this way, these two parts are equal, so that also a line of symmetry. And this way, these two parts are equal. If we draw this way, these two parts are equal. So in circle, we can draw infinite number of line of symmetry. A circle has infinite number of line of symmetry. But rectangle, two lines of symmetry. Square, four lines of symmetry. Hexagon, two lines of symmetry. This like mark, one line of symmetry. But circle, infinite number of lines of symmetry we can draw. Okay, so symmetrical figures mean these two parts are exactly the same. That type of figures are symmetrical figures, and the line that divide the shape into two identical parts, the line is called the line of symmetry. Different objects have different numbers of lines of symmetry. Rectangle has 2 lines of symmetry, square has 4 lines of symmetry, and this circle many lines of symmetry. Okay, so what is symmetrical figures? Figures that when a figure or shape we divide into 2 identical halves, each parts are exactly the same. That figures are called symmetrical figures. Asymmetrical figures means we divide 2 parts. Each parts are not exactly the same. Such type of figures are called asymmetrical figures. And the line that divide the shape into 2 identical parts, that line is called the line of symmetry. Different objects have different number of line of symmetry. That example is this. Okay, that only in this topic, line of symmetry. Now your homework from your workbook, page number 12, 13, 14, question number 1 to 40. Question number 1 to 40, all objective type questions. So do in your workbook itself and submit. Okay, question number 1 to 14, do in the workbook itself. Okay, and today's question, draw any two symmetrical figures and non-symmetrical or asymmetrical figures. Draw any picture, any two symmetrical and non-symmetrical figures. Any two but symmetrical figures, symmetrical and asymmetrical figures. Any two examples of symmetrical and asymmetrical figures were do in your maths notebook, back side of your maths notebook, or draw in your rough book and submit in the Google Classroom before the due time. Okay, so today's question is draw any two symmetrical and asymmetrical figures. Okay, this is the homework question. Okay, so 2 assignment Miss will give. In the first assignment, you submit the question answer. Means draw into symmetrical and asymmetrical figures in your notebook or backside of your notebook and submit in the Google Classroom that day itself. And this is the homework. This question answer, this homework do in the workbook and submit in the second assignment. Okay. So this only this today's topic. So study what is reflection and what is symmetry, what is symmetrical figures, line of symmetry, asymmetrical figures, etc. Okay, thank you.
Hi kids! Today we will learn symmetrical figures, asymmetrical figures, and line of symmetry. So let's get started. Here is an image of a heart. Can you fold it exactly halfway so that its 2 halves are exactly similar, or 1 half completely covers the other half? Let's try. Here we are folding it. Yeah, it completely covers the other half. And when you can fold a shape in half and 1 half exactly covers the other half, we can say that the shape is symmetrical. And the fold line is the line of symmetry. So this shape is a symmetrical shape. And this line of fold that divides the shape into 2 similar halves is the line of symmetry. Now, let's try this with another figure. Here we have an image. Let's try to fold it and see if it is a symmetrical figure or not. Here we are folding it. Yes, If we fold this image here, it completely covers the other half. So it's a symmetrical image. And this line of fold is its line of symmetry. Now, let's try the same with another figure. Here is a rectangle. Let's fold this rectangle halfway. If we fold it here, it does not work. Example, 1/2 does not cover the other half. So let's try another way. Let's fold it this way. Yeah, if we fold it here, it works. That is, 1/2 is completely covering the other half. So we got to know that this figure is symmetrical, and this line of fold is the line of symmetry. Now, kids, you have a fair idea what are symmetrical figures and what is line of symmetry. Now, let's see a few examples of some symmetrical figures and their line of symmetry. Here we have a butterfly, and we can fold it exactly halfway. So it's a symmetrical figure, and the line of fold is the line of symmetry. Here we have another symmetrical figure, a rabbit, and we can fold it exactly halfway. So it's a symmetrical figure, and the line of fold is the line of symmetry. Here are some more examples. A is a perfect example of symmetrical figures. This smiley too, and this trapezium too. Have a look at all these figures and their line symmetry. Kids, now let's learn making a symmetrical figure. It's interesting. Let's take a piece of paper. Now fold it halfway and make any shape along the fold like this. And cut it out. Now open the fold. What do you see? Here is a symmetrical shape with 2 halves that can cover each other. And this line of fold is our line of symmetry. You can make many symmetrical figures this way. Now, let's learn about the line of symmetry of a circle. Here we have a circle. Is it a symmetrical figure? Let's find it out by folding it halfway. Yes, if we fold it halfway, its 1/2 covers the other half completely. So it's a symmetrical figure. Now let's see how many lines of symmetry can you make in a circle. Try folding the circle halfway. We can fold it here. We can fold it here too. So we can make any number of lines of symmetry in a circle, as all the lines that pass through the center of the circle are lines of symmetry. Kids, now let's see some asymmetrical figures. This is an asymmetrical figure, as we can't fold it into 2 halves that can cover each other, like this. Here are some more examples. Have a look. These figures are asymmetrical. These numbers and characters are perfect. Examples of asymmetrical figures.